Ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to distill the North versus South divide in our country into its very essence, understand this. It's not over language or culture, it's not over food or cinema. It's about money. Who is paying for India's growth and who is reaping the rewards of India's growth? It's always a question of money. On Friday, the central government released 1.73 trillion rupees, that is 1.73 lakh crore rupees, as tax devolution. Tax devolution is the transfer of the portion of central government's tax revenues to state governments. This is done to support states in meeting their expenditure needs to ensure more equitable distribution of financial resources across the country. The operative word there is equitable. Now we understand what exactly the government means by it. Look at the breakup of the tax devolution to states. Three states in the north, specifically we're talking of Uttar Pradesh, we're talking of Madhya Pradesh, and we're talking of Bihar. And compare these three with all five states of the south: Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Now, even the highest a state has got, in this case it's Tamil Nadu with 7,057 crores, is almost half of what the lowest in the three northern states, Madhya Pradesh, has got. When it comes to Uttar Pradesh, the comparison could not be more stark and evident. All these five states in the south combined have received less than what one state, Uttar Pradesh, has. Now you will tell me that obviously Uttar Pradesh is the most populated state in the country, deserves more. But those figures don't add up. UP's population is 24 crores. The other five states' population together is 31.5 crores. So it's not just a factor about who has more people. It's also about other factors as well, which we'll discuss. Now, predictably, the South is not happy at this. The finance minister of Tamil Nadu has tweeted, and I quote him here, "Five southern states that drive India's economy get just 15% of the allocation, while Bihar, UP and MP together get nearly 40%. Is this cooperative federalism, or is this centralized discrimination?" His words have been echoed by Karnataka's Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar. Listen in.
See, we want to we are going thoroughly on that. How is it they have calculated our share? I think we feel that injustice has been done and we are going to fight it out on this issue. My CM and my in-charge General Secretary will take care of all those things.
So where does equity end and where does disparity begin? When does federalism become favoritism? Let's debate. I'm being joined by my guests at this point here. I'm being joined by Mohan Krishna, who is the former advisor to ex-Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai. I'm being joined by Anurag Naidu, who's an author. And I'm also being joined by Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, who's the spokesperson of the Congress. And I'm also being joined by Salim Dharnidharan, spokesperson of the DMK. Thank you all for joining me. Let me start with Bhavya at this point. Bhavya, we heard Tamil Nadu's viewpoint at this point, and we also heard the statement coming in from the Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister. Is this not a case of sour grapes, or not a case of political appeasement? Because the contrary viewpoint, which I saw many replies coming into the Tamil Nadu Finance Minister's statement, was that at the end of the day, the only reason you're opposing this and making a big hue and cry is because you are not run by the BJP and there's a BJP government in the state, at the center. How will you respond to these allegations?
Facts speaks for themselves, right? Are we cooking up facts? Are we making up the numbers? You just gave the numbers. 3 states, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, gets 40% of the share. And 5 states get 15% of the share. How can it be a coincidence that all the 3 states which get the highest allocation are ruled by BJP? You think this coincidence is too good to be true? And the other 5 are not ruled by BJP, and as usual, and this is not the first time. And this is not the first time we are even opposing this. Last year, Karnataka government protested in Jantar Mantar in Delhi. The chief minister of the state went and protested. Every chief minister wrote against this injustice, opted out to states which are ruled by opposition. And let me just give you one fact which is very startling. in 2018-19, the union budget was 24 lakh crores. Correct? Then the Karnataka's allocation was 46,000 crores in total. But in 2024-25, that is this year, union budget is 48 lakh crores. That is twice the budget of 2018. And guess what the Karnataka's allocation is? Less than what it was in 2018. It is just 44,000 crores. How do you explain this? The budget of a central government doubles.
Okay.
But the allocation installment to the state, not installment, in total for this year is reduced. Forget about, doubling. Don't the facts speak for themselves? For them to call this appeasement, like, why would we want to appease? We are a government. We are here to serve the people of Karnataka, and this is a complete injustice meted out. And it's the job, it's the duty of the government to speak for its people who elected us, right? Karnataka people have elected, Tamil Nadu people have elected their government. Don't you think the Andhra people, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, every state, they need to speak for their people? You can't just mete out injustice just because opposition is ruling a state, and then you can't just cry saying, we are doing this only because
you're saying it's less to do with North versus South dynamics? You're saying it's less to do with North versus South dynamics, less to do with which is a developed state, which is a developing state, if I can use that metaphor, and more to do with which party is in power in which state and which party is in power with the center. If that is your argument, let me bring in Mohan Krishna, also from your Mohan Krishna, also from your state. Mr. Krishna, okay. I got your point, Bhavya. Let me go across to Mohan Krishna, who is also from Karnataka. Mr. Krishna, then by that logic, the Karnataka BJP should be equally outraged. It doesn't matter which party is in power in which state. If Karnataka, along with the rest, has been getting a raw deal, then surely it's something which even the BJP should be concerned about in the state of Karnataka.
Mr. Bhattacharya ji, good evening. Bhavya Narasimhamurthy spoke in length about the discrimination from the center to the states, especially to the southern states. Who was there in power when the 14th Finance Commission was done? The devolution of funds were made during the 14th Finance Commission. When Arun Jaitley was the finance minister, the devolution of funds was 34% to the Karnataka. Now it is 48%. 48% of the amount, whatever the gross amount we collect, we will get back that. Coming to the point, metaphor, you are using metaphor, everything. My simple logic is it is very, very simple. Like, we have seen Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, the central India, has been discriminated by the previous successive governments which have ruled in the center for several reasons. Bimaru states is what they are called, Bimaru states. Whereas, because they were getting as many as good seats in southern part of India, they have given more concentration, and the people are also progressive here, and for education purpose, literacy purpose and everything, we have outgrown these three states. We have outgrown more than these three states. It doesn't mean that you are using in the beginning of the conversation, saying that there should not be discrimination to Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh has got 24 crore people. Madhya Pradesh has got 9 to 11 crore people, and so has Bihar also. If you go across the country and see these states, they are still in Bimaru states. We have pumped in a lot of money. The government of India, government of Uttar Pradesh has pumped in
the math
a lot
does
of money.
not add up, Mr. Krishna. I understand that. Let's have that graphic again on screen. I understand that Uttar Pradesh is the most populated state. Bihar comes next. Madhya Pradesh, similarly,
just give me 1 minute.
Equally
Just give me 1 minute.
But
just give me 1 minute.
let me complete my point. I'll give you time. The point is, at the end of the day, they still have less. Uttar Pradesh does not have more people than the 5 states combined. So I'm not saying that Uttar Pradesh should be paid the same as Tamil Nadu or same as Andhra Pradesh. But if it is paid more than all the 5 southern states combined, despite having lesser population, then it comes down to quality of population or quality of governance or quality of demography, not just sheer numbers, doesn't it?
No, absolutely, you are wrong. You are wrong. That is the theory and the narration
Okay.
what the opposition parties who are ruling in southern part of India, as well as wherever they are ruling now, they are making it against the BJP government in central. I told you it was a Bimaru states. Now we want to improve. अगर आपने ऐसे ही छोड़ दिया समझ लो, अगर ऐसे ही छोड़ दिया और बीमारू हो जाएगा, मर जाएगा, आईसीयू में जाएगा, तब जाके उसको उठाने का कोशिश करेगा क्या? उससे पहले, this is the planning of the central government. By next 20 years, these states should compete with the progressive states like southern states. When they compete, they also give more taxes, and devolution of funds will
No,
also
but then is the
be
South
given to the same way.
South being paid? No, that comes back. Then, Mr. Mohan Krishna, it brings me back to my metaphor. Let me get in Salim Dhanidharan at this point, also spokesperson of the DMK. That brings me back to my point that, if a state has been doing well, historically, whatever legacy it has got at this point, if a state has done well in terms of economic indices, in terms of social indices, should it necessarily be penalized to a point where it loses representation also? Now, there's an interesting counterpoint to that also. Salim Dhanidharan, I was going through this entire argument, which the finance minister of his state has also pointed out, that our states come up with 40%. I went into who funds India, and the maximum comes from Maharashtra. And Maharashtra is not complaining at this point, it has a lion's share. But Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, then locked neck and neck, 8.88% versus 8.84%. And similarly, Madhya Pradesh is at 4%, which is the same as Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, more than Kerala at this point. So it's not that the states which have been highlighted by the DMK are performing exceptionally higher in terms of generating revenue than a state like Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh.
See, I think firstly the numbers do not speak the complete truth, right? So if you look at population and other things. Firstly and foremost, I'll tell you this. South of India has about 20% of the Indian population and contributes nearly 45% of the India's overall GDP. And again, if you put Maharashtra, if you include Maharashtra, it may be 25% of Indian population and about 60% of India's GDP. And if you give back little to these states, then what happens is that the growth of these states will reduce when you give less money, less resources for capital expenditure for other schemes. So when growth of these states will reduce, the growth of the entire country will reduce, because only when the individual states will grow, the country can perform. It comes back to my second question. Is that how long will you keep giving to these Bimaru states? I'm not against giving to them, but has it resulted in increase in per capita GDP? For example, in 1960s, per capita GDP in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh were nearly the same. And today, per capita GDP of Tamil Nadu is 3 times higher. So that's why we are saying a metric has to be devised in which states are given funds based on performance. Even the states that are poor, if they can improve the institutional capacity, right, the performance increase. In fact, this interesting book written by a well-known economist who says that some poor countries, he gives an example, Africa, remain poor because the institutions are bad, the institutional capacity isn't there. Isn't the government doing anything for that? That's the question. And again, another problem is only 75% of the money that we contribute goes to the divisible pool. Remaining 25% goes to the indivisible pool, which is cess and surcharge. There comes centrally sponsored schemes, sectorally sponsored schemes, and here we are discriminated. Example, Kerala Bharat, Tamil Nadu got 15 crores, sending the highest contingent of the Olympics, and UP and Gujarat got 550 crores. This discrimination, the money that we get for metros is much lesser than other states. So the divisible pool, so that is 25%. And comes the another metric, which is also that Tamil Nadu being a manufacturing state, we have the highest number of factories in the country, 40,000, one of the highest number of factories in the country, even in terms of percentage, right? And GST is taxed at the point of sales. So 90% of the t-shirts in India are manufactured in Tamil Nadu. And 90% of the same are sold outside of Tamil Nadu. Similarly, cars, 50% of the cars sold in India are manufactured in Tamil Nadu, but 90% of these cars are sold out of Tamil Nadu. So, which means the GST money goes to the point of sales, the states in the heartland or other states, right? So here we are discriminating.
Okay.
Again, and 50% of the taxes which the government receives are taxes, are indirect taxes like GST. So we don't get a share in that, right? I think these are the things which with the numbers you show do not show. The Union Ministry of Finance itself does not show these numbers, right? They should say what percentage of cars was made in Tamil
So
Nadu,
you are
what
saying
percentage sold in
essentially,
other states.
Sarandanidharan, that the
Based on that,
numbers
what
by
money we
itself,
get.
even though the
We have to
numbers
look
which you
that into
put out
consideration.
also. Okay, so
No,
you're
no,
saying the
Union
numbers
Ministry itself
itself
does not
show
have
a
that number.
narrative, but
I have done
the
in-depth
invisible
research.
numbers show an even greater support your narrative. No, because the finance minister of your state has put out numbers and they're comparing numbers. Let's not say numbers don't give a picture. They don't give the full picture, and the full picture
No, I'm
only
saying the numbers
compounds the
which
problem
the
that has been
Union Minister
highlighted by the numbers. Let me get in, Anurag. Yeah, complete your point, please. Quickly. Okay, let me go across to Anurag Naidu. I'll come back to Salim Dhanidhar. Anurag Naidu, there is another important incentive and reward angle which has not been highlighted here. And that is also a reason why the South has risen. Before that, I'll come to Bhavya after that. One is when you look at parameters like total fertility rate or TFR, the South has done a far better job and is dragging down the total fertility rate of India compared to the North, which means the population growth in the North is still higher than that is in the South, which means that there will be more people in the North than compared to South. By that logic, then that becomes a key parameter for delimitation. And in the delimitation exercise, we have already seen several estimates where the northern states gain a lot more representation in parliament and the southern states gain a lot less. So when you combine all of these aspects aside, the direct division of funds, the indirect division of funds, which the DMK spokesperson was saying, the lack of performance in key developmental parameters and the increased representation based on those parameters, does the South not have reason to feel that it is being at the receiving end of favoritism?
Well, Ritangshu, look, you spoke about numbers. When you are concerned about the math, let me tell you the math. And I come from Andhra Pradesh. I represent my home state of Andhra Pradesh, right? And I'm one of these 5 states that you're talking about. This is a devolution of tax, but not devolution of development. You need to understand on 6th of January, Prime Minister was in Visakhapatnam announcing more than 2 lakh crores of investment just for the state of Andhra Pradesh. Now, that is not linked to the tax. These are the benefits that Prime Minister brings to the state of Andhra Pradesh because he feels that Andhra Pradesh should be lifted up. Mr. Naidu spoke in his speech and he said he reached out to Prime Minister for a foreign direct investment for a big corporation coming to Andhra Pradesh. They took an assurance from the Prime Minister that the tax will remain unchanged for this particular sector so that the companies feel safe. He said, "Go ahead, I give this benefit to you." So these are some ad hoc things which as a Prime Minister you have to take. The ethos of India, every single person from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Arunachal to Gujarat, they're all one citizens. Just because I am among the top 3% of the taxpayers of this India doesn't mean that 88% of India who's getting support from the government in forms of freebies and the schemes should not get. This is not how we live. This is not the ethos of. I mean, if you're talking about, and also, Ritangshu, you spoke about the quality of citizens. What is this quality of citizens? Do you know how many people from the north contribute in building of Bangalore and Hyderabad? They'll be deserted if the people from the north they leave.
True.
Who are going to serve you? Leaving Tamil Nadu and Kerala, I accept, but Hyderabad, Bangalore, even Andhra Pradesh, a lot of people, migrants from Orissa, they come and they contribute to the economy of the state. What is Bangalore today or what is Hyderabad today without the contribution of whole of India? I think we service each other. That's how we
Or
grow.
for that matter,
And
even
also, Mr.
Chennai
Naidu,
let's see.
also, Mr. Naidu mentioned very important point after he became the chief minister this time, Chandrababu Naidu in Delhi. You know what did he say? He said South did grow in this decade, on this couple of last 2 decades, but the future is for Uttar Pradesh. The future is for the human capital of Uttar Pradesh. It's a population, huge potential. You need to invest today. Maybe tomorrow Uttar Pradesh starts contributing 10 times more than South. And will you then complain? Will you then, when the government gives you more devolution, will you then not
So that's
say,
the
okay,
point
Uttar
I'm
Pradesh
making,
is getting...
Anurag.
So,
I agree with you on that point. The first point which I'm making is, as we have this data on our screen, it is not a very extremely skewed difference between Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. Bhavya wanted to come in at this point. Bhavya, if we go by this data, the state which should be complaining the most is Maharashtra here. And it is ruled by the BJP, yet we have never heard a squeak coming out from any Maharashtra government saying that we don't get the rewards of the amount of money we generate for the country here. Does this not puncture a hole into this argument that these things are being based entirely on political considerations rather than complex socio-economic criteria which are not very easily tangible or listable?
Don't you think you're actually contradicting something that is existing? Actually, there, the BJP government do not want to speak against their own government in center. That is appeasement. They don't care about the people of Maharashtra. But the state governments in other states are worried about their people. We want to speak about our people. And I want to respond to both Mohan Krishna sir and Anurag Naidu. Mr. Mohan Krishna, you spoke about Bimaru. And yes, we have to give a lot of money to Uttar Pradesh kind of states. Come on, you are in power there since 2017. And thousands of crores, more than every state of South, has been going there since Narendra Modi came to power, right? And what has happened? Why is there no development? Did you promise development before coming to power there? Oh, wait, you're busy with your bulldozer politics. So Yogi Adityanath, instead of concentrating on his bulldozer politics, we should come to Karnataka, take some lessons on fiscal discipline from Siddaramaiah maybe. And Anurag Naidu, I would like to place my opposition to your statement that you made, that Bengaluru is nothing. I don't know about your Hyderabad, but Bengaluru was already Bengaluru before the migrants came in. They came in search of their livelihood because Bengaluru was already a developed, city. Let me make it very clear.
No,
Yes,
Bhavya, see, we are getting sidetracked. If Delhi starts doing that, if Delhi starts using that logic, or Mumbai starts losing that logic, Bhavya, for that matter, if Delhi starts using that logic and say that, people from Noida and Gurgaon are not from us, I don't even know. That's a entirely different conversation as to who is the son of the soil, who deserves it. But anyway, Anurag, would you like to respond to that?
No.
I think so. See,
okay, let Anurag respond to that. Bhavya, you made a point. Let Anurag and Mr. Krishna respond to that. I'm running short of time. More Anurag, go ahead.
Ritangshu, being a global guy, I would just see. I'll give you one good example. When you see this hi-fi big development in Bengaluru and the bigger cities, how does development happen without the blessing of the union government? Not a single MNC can come here and set up because they want the city to thrive. There is a support which directly is given by the union government. Then there is a huge metro which is incubated by the government. There are developmental activity which come up. There's a swanky international airport that is supported by the. It's a lot of other projects that's come in. It is not just revenue. So when you give other benefits, you have to compensate somewhere else. I mean, are we really saying that okay, let's not give it to the other states of India? They are not mine. Are we a different country? Are we a different?
So then that brings me to my final question. Then Anurag, I get your point. That brings me to my final question, Salim Dharnidharan. Then is it futile and is it pointless or not advisable to then try and quantify as to every rupee who's earning which rupee and who's getting which rupee? Because as Anurag pointed out, the process of development is a very complex situation and not all of them can be quantified. A lot of it is qualitative analysis also.
Media should play the Tamil Nadu gives 1 rupee, we get less than 25 paise back. And then if UP gives 1 rupee, they get 3.5 rupees back. Only a naive man would say that if you have a lot of population, the democratic dividend is there, the state or the country will grow. No, it has never happened, which means the most populous country should have been the most developed country. To develop, there are a lot of other things. As a student of public policy, I will tell you, you need to have human resource capital, invest in education. Tamil Nadu's gross enrollment ratio is 52%. UP is 20%, right? So you have to focus on all those things. Without that, you keep throwing money there, nothing will happen. And then the previous spokesperson said, Bengaluru grew because of union government support. Where does the union government get this money from? Union government does not have any money. The money goes from individual states.
So
right?
that's my point. It's a very cyclical process. Who's giving money to who's getting money from who? It works as a team, unfortunately, which is why it's called a federal system at this point. I do get your point. There should be equitable development, but you can't completely draw hard lines as to who has gotten money and who's getting rewards. Mohan Krishna, I like to 30 seconds, sir. Have the last word. I'd like to wrap up after this point.
I need 10 seconds.
Okay, Salim, take 10 seconds. Please make your point, Salim, please.
Important point, you cut me off. Right? When we give 1 rupee, we get 25 paise back. But remaining 75 paise goes to the union government. So the money which the union government sends back is also the money from Karnataka or from Tamil Nadu. It's only in states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, where they get additional money. That's the money which we send. Right? So it's not that they're giving us some favors, the union government.
Understood your point, sir. I'm not cutting you short. Mohan Krishna, have the last word, please.
Right.
My question to Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, if this is the Karnataka's development model, by giving guarantee money and taking the fiscal deficit to 4.4% and going to the loan of around 90,000 lakh crores, 90,000 crores every year for where from progressive to state to regressive state. This is the way of development. Then I can quote lot many things about Uttar Pradesh also. She was asking a question about Uttar Pradesh.
Okay.
As mentioned, the literacy level is
Okay, we
very
get your point.
So,
Unfortunately, I don't have time to allow Bhavya to respond to that, but we are anyway going down a track about Karnataka's development, which is a separate debate by another. I think the point is, and I'm very glad my panel were representatives entirely from the South, equity should be maintained, and it should a state should not be penalized for giving more development or getting more revenue. But how do we actually calculate and divide certain lines between who has contributed how much? It's not a very easy process. Ultimately, everyone prospers together. Thank you so much for joining me, Mohan Krishna, Anurag Naidu, Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, and also Salim Dhanidharan on this very important debate. On the other side, the urban debate continues. Stay tuned.